The X3M is like taking your M3 to have penis enlargement surgery. They both do the same thing, but one's bigger than the other. And I've always been a fan of these, and if I was to buy a fast mid-sized SUV, this would be my choice. But if I was to think M car, an SUV doesn't pop to mind. So let's see if it's deserving of the M badge. I'm Max Atavani, welcome to Driven Plus. So this is called the F97 X3M, and this is the pre-facelift version. Now you can get a facelift, they do look good, but I think I prefer the look of this version, especially from the rear end. Now I believe BMW aren't going to be making a new X3M, they're just going to be giving that an M performance treatment. So in a few years down the line, this might actually be a bit sought after. Now the X3M was the first M car to accommodate the S58 engine along with the X4M, which is essentially the same car anyway, and it did so for 2 years before the new M3 and 4 came out. And I think the X3 as a whole is the sweet spot in the BMW SUV lineup. I mean, this M version is just for mad people like you and I, but I think the proportions are right. It's not as big as the X5, and I think the X3M does the same trick as the M3 does. It makes you question why you go and buy the bigger M5, whereas in this case we're talking about the X5M. But let's stop over somewhere so we can check out the engine. Here it is, BMW's latest S58 engine. What an engine this is, and it's a 3-litre straight-six twin-turbo engine producing really healthy numbers. 503 horsepower and 600 newton meters of torque. Now these are electronically limited to 155 miles per hour. However, if you opt for the M driver's package, that increases to 186 miles per hour. That's a really fast penis enlargement. Anyway, these cars really benefit from an ECU flash, which is the case with this car. It's had boot mod and XHP gearbox flash. Now it produces around 640 horsepower, which is seriously impressive. Now BMW say the standard X3M does a 0 to 60 time of 4.1 seconds. So let's see what it'll do now. Alright, it's time to launch this beast from 0 to 60, and in case you're wondering, yes, this is equipped with BMW's M xDrive, so that's definitely going to help get a really good time. So on your screen now are the stats and figures on this car. So pause your screen if you want to look into them. To launch this car, traction fully off and gearbox in its most aggressive setting. Alright, I think this is going to be good. Here we go. 3.16. The number plate went flying, has gone in the back seat. What's that? And a slope of -1%, which isn't much, but I want to go for another run. That's so quick because it was struggling for traction, to be fair. So run number 2. Okay, here we go. Run number 2. 3.27. Well, it was quicker on its first run, so we'll take that as the best time. Well, that's what it stacks up against. That was so quick, considering this weighs like 2.1 tons. Fair play. That's seriously impressive. Well, there's a great advertisement that you should tune your X3M. Anyway, back to the review. Okay, when we come into the inside of this car, one thing I have to say is how you sit in it. It's really comfortable. The ergonomics is good, so you can go for hours in this car, and I particularly like the seats as well. Another thing I like is the massive panoramic sunroof as well, so it lets a lot of natural light in, which is what I like. Now we come on to the digital driver's display. Now that's identical to what you get in the F90 M5, and the reason I say that is because I owned an M5, so it's quite nice to see that again. That's a nice touch. Another thing which you get in the same as the M5 in this is the steering wheel. It's the exact same as well, and you get your M1 and M2 buttons on there, and I like the fact that they're red as well. And when we come on to the infotainment screen, I'm pretty sure this is iDrive 7, or is it iDrive? It's the same one that's in my BMW M4 CS, so whatever iDrive that is. So it's controlled via the toggle, and it's also touchscreen as well. And it's, to be fair, it's very responsive, which is very good. All your climate controls are down here, and I like the fact that you get the X3M badge down in the center console there. That's a nice touch. And your gear stickers here, and all your exhaust buttons and your cameras. This has got hill descent control as well. Yeah, you can take your M car off-road. Wouldn't advise doing that. It's on low profile tyres. And glove box is a decent size as well. It's at a good height too. And the trim, I say the materials used in the X3M feel very, very premium. I'll be happy, and I like the fact it comes with a heads-up display as well. Now, one reason why you buy the X3M over the M3 is its boot space. It has 70 more litres, which doesn't really surprise you, does it? But say you're comparing this car against its brother, the X4M. The X4M only has 525 litres, so the X3M is the more practical choice. And whilst we're here, let's hear this car rev in efficient mode first. Yep, that's nice. What about when we put it in Sport Plus? Oh, keep it coming. Keep it coming. Oh, yeah, and again. That sounds frightening. Anyway, let's get back onto the road. But talking about the X4M, I mean, essentially, they're the exact same car. Same engine, same gearbox, same chassis. The only difference is the body shape. And I actually prefer the look of the X3. I think the X4M looks a bit blocky. It's all going to come down to personal preference. So how does it drive? Well, by BMW standards, it's very firm. You feel every bump on the road, and I've got the suspension in comfort mode as well. So if you thought you're going to be buying the X3M because it's fast and it's going to retain that compliant ride you get in the standard X3, think again. If that's the case, then I'm going to recommend you to buy the 40i version, which is a fantastic car, and I think that car actually might make more sense than this. But how does it drive by BMW M standards? Well, to be fair, that's the question I wanted to know as well, because I am an M enthusiast and it's my first time in this car. So let's put it in M mode, if he is configured, so in MDM mode, Sport Plus, Sport Plus, Sport Plus. So let's go down the gear and let's put our foot down here. Nice third gear pull. Now we've got a very tight bend coming up here, and to be fair, whoa, apply brakes, and the brakes are fantastic, and coming out a corner you can feel the traction working away, and it's nice because you get pushed out a corner. It's rear bias as well, and it's very planted and stable on the road. You can push on in this car. It's very capable. So by BMW M standards, it's definitely an M car. I think once you've got past the harsh ride, this makes an incredible daily. Yes, you'll have to be stopping to put fuel in it every so often, but that's the case with pretty much every M car. And this is fitted with an 8-speed ZF torque converter, so the changes are lovely and smooth. And even when you put your foot down, that takes, there's no delay for it to think what gear to go in. And the changes are so crisp as well, because this car has benefited from an XHP gearbox flash, and even the when you play with the paddles, yeah, the responsiveness of the gearbox is very, very good. So there's a few other cars out there which you might be considering when shopping for a fast mid-sized SUV, such as the Mercedes GLC 63 AMG, Porsche Macan GTS, and the Alfa Romeo Stelvio Quadrifoglio. Where does this one stand out? Well, I think it's the better all-rounder. It's got better tech than the Mercedes and the Alfa, and it's more practical than the Porsche. The only thing which lets it down a little bit is the sound. But I don't think sound is going to be a priority when shopping for one of these cars. This still sounds good, but you can't beat the sound of the V8 Merc, the V6 from the Alfa particularly, and also the V6 in the Macan sounds pretty good as well. But however, this still sounds good. Have a listen. Now, one thing I like about this car is the driving position it gives you. You're not sat too high and you're not sat too low. Now, the owner of this car, if he has lowered this a little bit, so that does lower the ride. However, though, it provides you with a real good, engaging drive. And one thing I like is the indents in the bonnet. It's quite nice to see that. It does feel like you are sat in something rather special, which of course you are. So if you're planning to buy the X3M, I can tell you you're definitely not going to be disappointed. However though, if you're going to be using it for a daily basis, take note, the ride is quite harsh considering it's an X3. So if you appreciate comfort and power at the same time, then I'd probably recommend you to have a look and test drive the X3 M40i, because that's a fantastic choice as well. However, I'd like to say a massive thanks to Iffy for letting me get a video on this fantastic M car today. So thanks mate, really appreciate that. And if you enjoyed this video, please leave a like on it, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. I'd massively appreciate it. So thanks guys, and we'll see you next time. Cheers, bye bye.